11 after 10 on Friday night, the 13th of June. We're going to recap a galaxy from previous Rounder series. This series will cover NGC3595, looking ahead of my sheet, to NGC3671. A previous galaxy, the last galaxy of the other evening, was NGC3594. It was a 13.7 magnitude galaxy, 1.3 by 1.2 arc minutes in Ursa Majoris at 11 hours 16 minutes 14 seconds plus 55 degrees 42 minutes and 15 seconds. Has an average surface brightness of 14.1 and a position angle of 10 degrees. Through a 17.5-inch scope. Then in 1988, Steve Gottlieb says faint, very small, round, bright core. I do believe our galaxy is located right there on the screen. And moving on. Our next study of the evening is possibly this little faint fuzzy near a very bright star. It is NGC 3595. At 11 hours 15 minutes 25.5 seconds plus 47 degrees 26 minutes and 49 seconds in Ursa Majoris, the Great Bear, that's at plus 47. That qualifies it for a rounder. Its visual magnitude is 12.1. Size is basically a 2:1, 1.6 by 0.7 arc minutes with an average brightness of 12.1. This will be the brightest average surface brightness of the evening. The galaxy has a position angle of 176 degrees. In 1995, Steve Gottlieb says that through a 17.5-inch scope, moderately bright, fairly small, elongated 2:1, sharp concentration with a very small bright core and much fainter extensions, located 2 arc minutes south of magnitude 7.4 SAO 43659, and a UGC galaxy 6255 lies 19 arc minutes to the north and the west. That would put it up here, but I don't think it would fit in the field. NGC 3610, located right in the center of the field, is a 10.8 magnitude galaxy in Ursa Majoris at 11 hours 18 minutes 25.3 seconds plus 58 degrees 47 minutes and 10. A visual magnitude of 10.8. It has an absolute surface average surface brightness of 12.8, 2.7 by 2.3 arc minutes through a 17.5-inch scope in 1988. Bright, small, slightly elongated northwest to southeast. A sharp concentration with a very small bright core and a faint halo. We're definitely seeing the halo there. About 15 arc minutes north-northwest is a small group of 7 stars, including magnitude 9.0 SAO 27978. North-northwest, this is the group of stars, 15 arc minutes different. Very sweet little cluster of stars there, and we did have a meteor pass. Here in NGC 3613, we have a nice, sharp, edge-on galaxy oriented west to east. We're at 11 hours, 18 minutes, 36 seconds, plus 58 degrees, purely right on, 00ZZ, in Ursa Majoris. Brightish, magnitude 10.9. Size 3.9 by 1.9 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13 and a position angle of 102 degrees. Through a 17.5-inch scope in 1988, bright, moderately large, very elongated 3:1, very bright core with a stellar nucleus. NGC 3619 lies 15 arc minutes to the south, and the east. So we are getting at 100% E-zoom, maybe a 30 arc minute view. In NGC 3614, vaguely seen on the screen, we have a magnitude 11.6 galaxy, but its size is fairly large, 4.6 by 2.6 arc minutes. Usually 11.6 would be about half the size. Has an average surface brightness of 14.1 and a position angle of 80 degrees through a 17.5-inch scope in 1991. described as faint, moderately large, weak concentration, definitely that, slightly elongated, 4 to 3 with dimensions of 2.5. I'd say our elongation has got a bigger aspect ratio than that. Low surface brightness, edges fade gradually into background, located on a line with a magnitude 13 star. All right, 3.5 arc minutes to the east and a mag 12 star, 5.1 arc minutes west. There is our view of NGC 36. NGC 3619 at 11 hours 19 minutes 21.6 seconds plus 57 degrees 45 minutes 29 seconds in Ursa Majoris. Magnitude 11.5, 2.7 by 2.3. Pretty reasonable average size with an average surface brightness of 13.4. In 1988 through a 17.5-inch scope described as fairly bright, moderately large, slightly elongated, small bright core with a stellar nucleus, forms a pair with NGC 3625, 9.5 arc minutes east, and NGC 3613 lies 16 arc minutes northwest. Here's our other galaxies, and this one here we have already viewed. I should note, of course, for the evening, we're using the standard 5 seconds of exposure time and the ASI Studio live program, which allows for multiple stacking. We are, of course, seeing in the center of the field another galaxy, NGC 3622, in Ursa Majoris, 11 hours 20 minutes 12.5 seconds. Further north, plus 67 degrees 14 minutes 29 seconds. The galaxy has a visual magnitude of 13.2, roughly 2 to 1 aspect ratio, 1.2 by 0.5 arc minutes, and an average surface brightness of 12.4. Typically, the average surface brightness on 13 plus magnitude galaxies very similar, and a position angle of 7 degrees. In 1995, described as moderately bright, elongated north-south, elongated bright core, magnitude 13.5, star is 1.5 arc minutes southeast of center, located 9.3 arc minutes north-northwest of magnitude 6.2, SAO 15478, and that's our star right there. In NGC 3625, we're getting a rather faintish view, but it's got some elongation to it. It's a galaxy in Ursa Majoris at 11 hours 20 minutes 31.2 seconds and a plus 57 degrees 46 minutes 53 seconds in declination. Magnitude 13.1, but fairly large, 2 by 0.6, and an average surface brightness of 13.2. The position angle is 148 degrees. That maps well against what we're seeing. Through a 17.5-inch scope, faint, fairly small, very elongated, weak concentration, third of 3 galaxies with NGC 3613, 20 arc minutes northwest, and NGC 3619, 9.4 arc minutes to the west. And there's our 3619, quite visible right there. We're going to get a rather extensive discussion of NGC 3631. It's at 11 hours 21 minutes 2.9 seconds, 53 degrees 1010 in Ursa Majoris. Bright, magnitude 10.4, size is 5 by 4.8 arc minutes with an average surface brightness of 13.7. It's obvious right there in the screen, but what I'm going to do is just play a wee bit with the histogram settings because it's starting to bring out much more of the galaxy. Very bright core with spiral arms going off in the distance. Now let's see what Steve's description through a 48-inch scope is. Beautiful face-on spiral, 4 arc minutes in diameter with 2 long winding arms and branching extensions. Okay, we're seeing those arms. Very bright galaxy appeared sharply concentrated. Yes, indeed. If I hadn't changed the histogram, we wouldn't have noticed the spiral arms. With an intensely bright small core increased to an extremely bright stellar nucleus. Prominent patchy arm was attached on the west side of the core and rotated counterclockwise to the north. bent sharply back in a straight line to the east end of the galaxy. What appeared to be an offshoot arm turned counterclockwise on the east side, continued all the way to the south end of the galaxy. The second arm was attached in the southeast end of the core and swept around the south side towards the west, continued to the northwest end. An offshoot or another patchy arm continued east near the edge of the northern halo. The two main arms are nearly connected by a slightly brighter region on the south side. It is a member of the LGG241 or UMA NED 1 group. What I want to do here is push the magnification up and see if we can't get a little more of a vision of these spiral arms, which actually we're getting a pretty decent view of. And that brought it out even more. Those are some perfect settings for this beautiful elongate face-on galaxy with beautiful spiraling arms that tend to caress itself almost as an annular galaxy. Quite nice. NGC 3631. Now on to NGC 3642. Not nearly as elaborate a description. This has the lowest average surface brightness, whereas the previous galaxy, NGC 3631, was the brightest galaxy in terms of total magnitude. 3642 is at 11 hours 22 minutes 17.9 seconds plus 59 degrees 4 minutes 28 seconds Ursa Majoris. Now, it's a visual 11.2 with a very large size, 5.4 by 4.5 arc minutes and an average surface brightness of 14.5, which is about twice as faint as our previous galaxy, which had an average surface brightness of 13.7, position angle of 105 degrees, through a 17.5-inch scope in 88, bright, fairly large, round, even concentration down to a very bright core, faint stellar nucleus, appears mottled with a knot on the west side of the core. Well, that looks like the knot he's referring to. Don't think I want to play with the histogram on this one. I think we're getting a pretty good view, although it looks relatively about half the size of what the apparent size is supposed to be, but pretty decent. We are seeing the knot. NGC 3654 is also an Ursa Majoris at 11 hours 24 minutes 10.9 seconds plus 69 degrees 24 minutes 47, almost into Draco. Visual magnitude 12.7 with a size 2 to 1 ratio of 1.2 to 0.6 arc minutes and an average surface brightness of 12.3. The position angle is 27 degrees. Through a 17.5-inch scope in 1995, fairly faint, fairly small, elongated 2 to 1, brighter along the major axis, very small bright core, situated midway between a magnitude 12 star and a mag 13 star, each about 3.5 arc minutes distant. So there is our study, NGC 3654. Here we have galaxy NGC 3656, and I ask you, how bright do you think that star is right along the axis of the galaxy? Probably no more than 2 arc minutes distant. 3656, let's find out what Steve has to say about it. It's at 11 hours 23 minutes 38.5 seconds plus 53 degrees 50 minutes 32 seconds. Visual magnitude 12.5. 1.6 by 1.6 face-on galaxy with an average surface brightness of 13.4 and a position angle of 7 degrees. Through a 48-inch scope, 2013 bright moderate.